Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing great this morning. I have my coffee and I am ready to go. I have not been on here in a little bit going live, but you are going to see me every week again for a live show talking everything about keeping your team engaged, really helping to ensure that the culture in your business is healthy and wealthy from the inside out, as well as how to really level up your leadership, because good leaders is really what the world needs right now. It's what small businesses need right now. And it's what your team needs right now. So we are talking all of those things every week. But this week, what I wanted to focus on specifically is a question that I have gotten asked a lot lately. I have taken some time to talk to some of my clients, past clients, current clients, and just kind of really dig into what's going on and what we can do better with everything that's going on in the world today. So I have, like I said, I've been really digging in and talking particularly to past clients and also business owners that I've just had some connection with to really find out what has been their biggest struggle. What has been their biggest struggle recently, and also just kind of seeing what I can do to help and offer some guidance and some suggestions as to what they can do. And what has been a common theme is really what does my team really need right now, because my engagement has with my team and my employees, keeping them focused, keeping the drama outside of the business and not having it be inside the business, because we've had so many external impacts, whether it be what has happened with the economy, what is happening in society, what is just happening in the world. And people have felt it. People have felt this heaviness. People have felt, the struggle and the challenges that have just been happening kind of all over the place. So the common theme that I have seen is, how do I keep, we have so much, especially with what's going on with the election, and I don't care which side you're on, everybody is just feeling like this anticipation of what's going to happen. And it can just manifest itself in so many different ways. And even though it's things that are happening outside of our business, it comes into the business. And like I said, some drama can set in, some lack of engagement can set in. I've read so many articles where they've talked about how trust between employee and employer is at a low. So I wanted to just come in here and just give you what I have seen as a leader. I help to run 5 businesses as a fractional COO, but then I also run my own business. And I am a coach for small business owners. So I want to give you my perspective. This is not fluff and theory. This is things that I actually implement myself as a leader, as a CEO and as a COO. And I want to just kind of talk about it because I think it's just a conversation we just need to have, just so that we can be better leaders. So the first one is we really need to just be transparent. Transparent as far as what is going on with your business. I know a lot of businesses have been through. I had a conversation with somebody last week who owns a retail store, and she said that, they were doing so great after COVID, and then things have kind of flattened out a little bit. So people are experiencing the increases in costs, the challenges getting securing loans or lines of credit, and then just the challenges in not just hiring people, but then getting everybody on board with what needs to happen inside the business, what needs to happen to streamline, and depending on what phase you are in your business, what needs to happen to up level processes, or what needs to happen to how the operations run. So I think just being transparent, and I think that's a thing that has kind of gone away since COVID, to be transparent and say, okay, this is the state of the state. And then also to be transparent as far as, yes, we know we are headed into this season of election. And there are so many things that are happening just in the world, outside of the United States. And how that then kind of has that effect back into our businesses, our small businesses. So just being transparent as far as where the business is, where you are as a leader. Um, I'm not saying you need to just stand there and just spill it all, but just being transparent as far as even just saying, hey, here's where the business is. This is where we set our goals to be. This is where we actually are. And being fully transparent as far as this is what we're going to be doing over the next so many months, over the next quarter, or quarter and a half, to not just survive this next 6 months, but to really thrive through it. And being transparent as far as, which is going to be the next thing, level setting, and level setting with the expectations of, yeah, we're headed into an election. We're headed into this next 6 months, which, based on what economists are saying, could be a bit of a challenge. So what do we really need to do? And setting those expectations. I know myself, being a leader, I've set the expectations of, okay, we have to, in order to really keep things moving forward, in a restaurant, in a retail setting, um, we need to make sure that we are really keeping an eye on costs. And if there are things that we're spending money on and we really don't need to spend money on those right now, we might curb those costs. But also, what are we doing, because there's next level leaders in the businesses? So, what do we need to do to make sure that we keep everybody on board? I said this yesterday to several people, is that our job as leaders is not to just tell people what to do. Our job as leaders is to inspire people, to hold that space for them to do their job, and to really, and not even do their job, but to hold that space for them to really expand into the role that they're in, and really to use their skills to teach them new things and to guide them when they make mistakes. So I think number one, being transparent as far as where the business is, where you stand as the leader in the business. And then also, number two is level setting the expectations of, this is what we are foreseeing happening over the next 6 months. And this is what we need to do as a leadership team to really keep our employees engaged. And number one, and the first thing is not approaching your leadership as you're just telling people what to do, but approaching it as you're holding a space for them to grow. Big difference. Big, big, big. big difference. And really start to build that trust back between employees and employers. Employers that I have seen that are not transparent as far as what's happening, and different things that need to be adjusted in the business, it creates a ripple effect down to the employees where the employees then think, like, what's going on here? Like, are they taking advantage of us? They're asking us to do all these things, and there's no reciprocity. And so we need to squish that. All right. So number one is being transparent. Number two is level setting. Number three is, again, giving them a direction so that we can start building momentum. There is nothing worse than working and functioning in this black hole where you don't really know what direction employees don't know what direction you're going, or what direction they need to go. They don't know what the vision is. They don't know what they're working towards. There is nothing worse than that, than somebody trying to function in, it's like ambiguity, or like not even ambiguity. It's just like this confusion, and it creates chaos. And that's the last thing that we want to do. So we want to make sure that we are giving them a direction and we're building momentum. The direction is going to get people to start moving, to start having some movement. I had a conversation where there was a lack of communication between managers that trickled down to employees for events, for different things that were happening in the business. So, what needed to happen is just communication, so that everybody understood and they have clarity. Clarity is power. Clarity really comes from giving people knowledge about something. So, really giving them the direction. What direction are we going? Once we level set, okay, this is what needs to happen. So they have some movement. All right. So that frustration can stop, and that we can start to create some movement. And then that creates momentum. And then the last thing is you get everybody on board to co-create these next steps, to co-create the projects, to co-create the vision. Because when people are involved in co-creating something, they're going to start to take ownership. They're going to start to take responsibility. They're going to start to feel good about, hey, my role, even though, my role is doing this, it's doing this small piece, or this big piece, or this medium piece that creates that bigger vision. And my role is important in the moving the needle on the business, because we've brought them into co-creating whatever it is that you're doing. And I don't care if you're co-creating menu items, or you're co-creating events, or you're co-creating what you're gonna buy in the business, or you're even co-creating a budget. When people are part of that, when you make them part of that, they're going to take ownership. And guess what? Even someone who is not formally a leader becomes a leader. And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen in a restaurant that I run that even the host or the hostess, that they become leaders in their area. And they can, because they're part of co-creating that bigger vision of making the restaurant successful, or making the events there successful, or making, even in the retail store that I run, even somebody who works part-time and is working 12 hours a week, they can become leaders. Yes, I do think it's possible to have this happen in big organizations. I think it's more challenging because there's lots of different hoops that you have to jump through. But if we can reach the leaders in those organizations, those bigger organizations, and help to shift the way that they think about their people, the way that they think about their role, and even the way that they think about their business, this is possible. So I think that it's a little harder, but it's possible. So I think that, again, number one, we need to be transparent. Number two, we need to level set expectations, and really get everybody on the same page, and really say, hey, even though we all have different ideas, we all have different experiences, we all have different opinions about what's going to happen with the election, or what's going on in the country, or we all have different opinions. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different ways of thinking. That's the beauty of diversity in businesses. And we need to bring that in and use that from a positive perspective to help to get everybody on the same page, to get everybody engaged again, and to get everybody co-creating. So that's what your employees need right now. I think the biggest thing is to start to rebuild that trust, start to bridge the gap between leaders and employees, start to bridge that gap between business owners and their leaders, business owners and the employees. We need to fill that gap. And the way that we do it is first being transparent. Second, level setting. Third, giving direction, like having a direction and momentum, like stop digging the hole, get out of the hole, get out of that, like that black hole that we've created because we're not communicating, and then start co-creating with your employees. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you back here next week. Definitely check out my newsletter, which is all about building an iconic culture, and I will see you here soon. Take care. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.